What's going on, Star Wars fans?
Hello there.
I am going live tonight, so let's go ahead and get this party started. I am going to have a good buddy of mine on here tonight, and we're going to go ahead and start this show. What's going on, Star Wars fans?
Hello there.
I have my good buddy Derek Frank here with us tonight.
What's up?
How are you, my friend?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm glad we could get this going and get it working and man,
Yes,
it's been a long time coming.
I know we've talked about this and we've, more and more, and then you moved away and and you're doing great, but it's pretty cool that you were able to get on here and do this with me, so I appreciate you taking the time and doing it. So
Man, well, it's great to be here. It's good to see your amazing face and if it wasn't for you, I probably wouldn't have gotten the Star Wars sleeve.
that's awesome, dude. I can't wait to see some better pictures of it. I'm looking forward to it. So how's everything going up where you're at?
Ah, things are good. I moved to Des Moines and it's cold here. but but the food's really good and people love Star Wars everywhere. So it's fine.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's awesome. And you guys are doing well up there and everything. Had a good Thanksgiving.
Yep, I did. I definitely gained a few pounds and, indulged quite a bit, but yeah, that's what you have to do. How about you guys?
Yeah, yeah, it was good. It was good. We had a good time, a little bit of family. We started a new tradition, so with Haley and Jacob, and did Waffle House in the morning and Chinese at night. So,
That's
but
perfect.
yeah. So anyway, so what I'd like to do is give me a little background on yourself. I know you're a producer, you're a musician, you're a podcast host, you're all these different things. But tell me a little bit, or tell the audience a little bit about yourself, and a little bit about your Star Wars background, and we'll get into some of this new stuff.
Yeah, so, I'm a lifelong musician and lived in Nashville 11 years and then finally moved back to the Midwest to be closer to family, but, that family aspect is what got me into Star Wars because, I was really my uncle was like the cool uncle. He was just that guy, and I went over there every weekend to hang out. And what movies did he always play but Star Wars? And so I was like, man, it doesn't get any better than that. Like he's the cool uncle. He's got Star Wars. I loved it. And then he announced that they were going to have a son, and I petitioned to name him Skywalker. and and I fought really hard. And I mean, I was probably like, I was like 3 or 4. So the fact that like it was that little petitioning, and I think I won because they named him Skyler. So yeah, so that was that. Oh, I think I lost your audio. Nope. I think when you switched.
Okay,
There we go.
there we go.
There we go. Yeah, so I feel like I won that battle. And but yeah, so that's really what started my Star Wars love was my uncle and playing video games and all the toys, and no one ever told me it wasn't cool. So I just continued down that path.
That's awesome. And all your background stuff. I see all your stuff. You have a little collection like I do. It's a little bit darker back there, but your
It
whole
is. It
your whole
is.
back there, I love, because when you were here, you had your really cool setup, up here in Nashville, and it was pretty awesome. So I'm guessing you sort of moved pretty much most of it down there with your up there with you guys.
I did. I don't have everything on display yet, but I have a lot. So, like over on this side that you can't see is my whole pop figure display, which, I'm like the guy. Everybody's like, "Oh, Derek's got all the Star Wars pops," and then I go to your house and I'm like, "I, don't, I have nothing compared to what you have." Like my collection is nothing compared to yours, but I have my mirrored camera over here by the. I can't even do it over there by the guitar amps is my autographed Mark Hamill picture,
Nice.
which that was really cool. But everything else is pretty much dark side. I'm a dark side guy. I'm all about the Sith. Love Darth Vader more than more than I should probably, but that's I just I feel like they're misunderstood. They're complex and they just want order. They want everybody to be safe.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think it was really cool how they brought Hayden back in. We're gonna jump right in with Ahsoka.
Great.
It was what a great job they did, with that.
And I think more than just bringing the character back, what they did for him as a person was so important because he was ridiculed so bad from the prequels, and I'm sure that hurt really bad, and you saw it at Celebration when he was there, and he's breaking down crying on screen when people are finally excited to see him, and people love him now, so bringing him back into Ahsoka, man, I couldn't hold it back. I was fighting back tears for sure.
Yeah, it really was great. Again, like you said, when the prequels came out, people were like, Hayden, they were sort of treating him like almost like a Jar Jar, and then when the stuff came back and he came out, it was just, I mean, people were freaking out. It's really cool. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for Ahmad Best, going from that Jar Jar character, to the actual Jedi that saves Grogu, the cutest character in the Star Wars history.
Yeah, and the whole thing with Jar Jar, like, it also depends on your age. Like, for my age, I'm 38, and, like, I knew Jar Jar was goofy and stuff, but I was at that point where it was like, it was kind of okay, but if you're a generation behind me, it was cool. Like, there was so much Jar Jar merch, and so while the original fans really hate on Jar Jar, he grew a fan base. He really helped grow that younger fan base in merchandising.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and that's what they're doing now. I mean, again, I've talked about this before on here, and you and I have talked about this. When you go and you talk to Star Wars fans and people, oh yeah, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I'm like, oh, cool. What did you think about Clone Wars and Rebels? And like, oh well, I don't watch that. I'm like, well, wait a minute now. Which again, I think it was great, for them to bring that in because it does reach out to a different audience and a younger audience, but it also fills those gaps for you and I in between all of these characters, which I love about this, about these animation things and the stuff that's coming out now, all this live action stuff.
Yeah, and if people I've had plenty of people on my podcast too, they're like, "Oh, I don't watch the cartoons or whatever." I'm like, "Oh, you're missing some of the best content." And then other podcasts I've been a guest on, they're like, "Oh, well, I didn't understand Ahsoka. It didn't make any sense to me." I'm like, "Well, did you watch Rebels?" I'm like, "Why should I have to watch something else?" I'm like, "Well, it's kinda how Star Wars is." And, like and they're like, "Well, they could have done a lot of more filler." I'm like, "Yeah, of course, there was some downtime that they probably could have filled with backstory, but it wasn't their responsibility to make you filled in on a story they've already told." At least
Correct.
that's how I feel, like and I'm plenty judgmental on Disney and Lucasfilm, but also, like, I think they did an amazing job with that series.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, bringing the Mortis gods in, and taking Rebels to live action is pretty much what it was,
Yeah.
and adding a main character of Ahsoka, which she was a pretty decent sized character in it. I mean, she wasn't one of the main ones, but again, she held her own in the episodes she was in. I was actually watching a few today, which, and some of the Easter eggs I even saw today, even as many times as I've watched them, I know you have too. I pick up something new all the time, and it's crazy, which is really cool.
Yeah, I agree. I think they did an amazing job. I'm happy with it. Um, so, but people are gonna hate on everything, and like most people say, no one hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans.
Right.
But then I think it's pretty unanimous among us fans that have watched all the cartoons as well that it was amazing. I think it's the people that feel like they should have added all the backstory. I'm like, well, we didn't need the backstory. It was
Yeah.
already there.
Yeah. Well, and I think like just to go back to what that person said to you about, oh well, why do I gotta watch this to watch this? You don't have to, because again, I think they've done a good enough job with first of all with the visual stuff and then the excitement or the action stuff. Even if you don't know the background of it and you jump on it and you watch Obi-Wan and or you watch Andor, you can still get the gist of what's going on. If you want to deep dive into more, look at what we had to go through in the 70s and 80s. We started in 4, 5, and 6, you know. So it's like now it's expanded, so it's even greater now, and we get all these stories in between. But I think that's really cool, that they're continuing with that.
Yeah, and the hate fandom too, like people just love to hate, and I'll be the first to admit I don't love the new movies. I think they're pretty awful, but there's a generation, especially of young girls, that Ray resonates with so much,
Oh,
and like we're not going to understand that. And are we going to look back in 15 years and then we're going to respect those characters that we didn't love before? Like, we might not, but the next generation probably will. Like, are they going to like Rose? Well, probably not. but, but but they, they are going to like Finn, and I do feel like it wasn't John's fault that the character development wasn't wonderful. I think he's made that pretty public that he didn't like the direction. Like his line where he said they can fly now, and he's made a lot of comments. He's like, I've always known that they could fly because he's a Star Wars fan.
right. Exactly.
So I think with time that'll get easier because the next generation of fans will be that age where they were young and it brought them into Star Wars. It's what they watched with their parents or their uncle or whoever. And that's what Star Wars is, and that's why the prequels are much better received now.
Oh, absolutely. And I think again with all this other stuff, you going back into those Easter eggs, and all this stuff that's coming out. So I wanted to talk to you if you could.
In this galaxy, there are only two kinds of people. Those who obey me, and those who regret ever crossing my path.
I will show them power. I will show them strength and dignity.
You are here to die. It is meaningless to resist against me. That's my final warning.
They are not just children. They are the symbol of the hope. You have to be their guide.
You won't get away this time.
I'm going to kill you then.
I mean, this new stuff, and hopefully I was watching something today. I was talking about they think that Disney has added and retracted more movies than they've put out, especially with this Star Wars, because oh, we're gonna do this. Oh no, we're not gonna do this. We're gonna do this. No, we're not gonna do this. This Skeleton Crew is gonna be good. I saw a lot of it at Celebration when it was here, not in London. But what are your thoughts?
Man, I have a lot of thoughts about it. I think it's great, and I think it's great that they put them out there, and I don't hate that they're retracting some of them. Like, if they realize they're not gonna work or they don't have budget, okay, at least we got excited. And people are like, "Well, they should have just never said anything." Well, then we get mad that they never say anything. It's like, it's fine. Like, do I want them to follow through on stuff? Sure. But are there like, there's things that they just know are gonna be bad or it's not working out or whatever reason, don't do it. And I think that's also the regime at Lucas right now. But that's one of the things I know you wanted to talk about of a little bit of the change of the guard. And
Yeah, and I think it's great. And anybody that doesn't know, which I'm sure if you're on here, you're a Star Wars fan, so you know. But Dave Filoni was promoted to creative director of this, which again, I think that'll help with some of the stuff that's going on because again, he is Lucas's apprentice, you know. Um, so, but also you still, I hate to say it, but you still have Kathleen Kennedy in there, which it's crazy to me that she's still there. I don't know why or how she's still there. Everybody that you see on any of this social media stuff for Star Wars is not a fan.
No.
I,
And I'm definitely not a fan. I think what's keeping her there, minus just Disney being in shambles kind of right now, and I'm a huge Disney fan, but Disney's in shambles. Like, let's be real. Like, all of their movies are flopping. This new movie is flopping. It lost to an Adam Sandler movie, that cartoon that had no like no budget for marketing. Um, but I think she's there because of the longevity she had with was ILM, and I think because of her past, and she used to do a lot of great things. When she got hired for that role, I was all for it. I was like, wow, like she has a great career, she's got a good history, a lot of great movies she's worked on. She's not dumb, but she is just not the right person for this now. I was excited. Now I understand, like, she's not it.
yeah, 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 you're exactly right, and I think it now that Dave has gone into this, and even with John there with him, I think, man, just hand over the reins to these guys, let them do what they've been doing, and I think it'll increase. Yes, you think the Star Wars universe to what it was?
I don't know if it'll be what it was, but I think it's better than what it is.
Yeah,
And that's okay to me. Like, it's never gonna be perfect. And
no,
anybody that says that before her it was perfect, like, look at the prequels.
right,
George made the prequels.
yeah, yeah,
That's enough there. Like, everybody, like, people, George needs to come back. George made the prequels.
right,
So you can use the excuse that it was the technology wasn't where his thoughts were. It wasn't like the technology wasn't there yet. No, come on. There's some bad directing. There's
yeah,
some really bad directing.
yeah. I don't hate on them that much because again, my thing for me is the story. Because
Oh, and
again,
don't get me wrong, I love the prequels.
yeah,
Even
yeah,
Phantom
no, I don't,
Menace.
yeah, and I understand where you're coming from, but again, it's just it is. I think it's a different generation now, and they are, and I think diehard fans like ourselves have to sort of, and I think we have to sort of give that up now because they are bringing in, I mean, what is it, the young Jedi or whatever. I tried watching that because I try watching everything, obviously, and it
My
was
nieces
just
love it.
yeah, and I'm sure the little kids do, but I was trying to pick up on some because Yoda's in it. Obviously, he's my favorite character, and I tried to see if it was worth, me to sit and watch this. If I was going to get out of it what I did for Clone Wars or Rebels, and
You're
and
not.
you really don't, and you're
No.
not going to. It is definitely for kids.
Mm.
But again, that's okay because it's bringing these kids in. They're going to like it. They're going to love it. And then they're going to start to see, oh, now Clone Wars and Rebels. And then they're going to start watching the movies as they grow older and stuff. So I think that's sort of cool that they are bringing these kids in because again, I was 10 when I went to, A New Hope in 1977, and continued on. There was a little bit of a lull in the, you know, 90s, I guess, until the prequels came out and then it surged again, you know, uh, which I think, and it has continued even the years between the prequels and these last three movies, it's really stayed pretty steady in the Star Wars universe, I think.
Yeah, and you can hate on Disney for what they've done to Star Wars too, but if it wasn't for Disney, Star Wars would be dead right now. Like, there wouldn't be anything else. And Disney's a massive part of why I love Star Wars because I remember going when I was 5 years old and I rode Star Tours. And at the old Star Tours, when you got off the ride, you go to the gift shop, you always exit through the gift shop at Disney, and Darth Vader was there. And like, there's a full size Darth Vader breathing, and he's behind this cage. It makes the hair stand up on my arms on my Darth Vader tattoo. And it just, this memory of like, I was scared but so excited because even as a little kid I loved Darth Vader. And that I remember like spending all of my, my souvenir money for the trip at that gift shop right then and there.
Oh yeah, and it's still fun. I mean, and I know they've added all this new stuff, but yeah, even back then it was fun because, like you said, you came out. That was the best part for me. You came out into the gift shop, and now I got to look at all these things that I was gonna buy or take home, And then,
Yeah.
like you said, yeah, they had a big Darth Vader there. They had a whole bunch of other things going on. It was just such a cool thing at that time. And then I think you're right. If Disney didn't take it over, if it's not dead, it would be going that way for sure. And
Yeah.
they have brought these on because I was actually looking. We were talking the other day about how many movies Disney has done, and they did Rogue One and Solo as well.
And
With
I'm one of the few people that loved Solo.
oh, I did too.
Yeah,
Uh,
I see,
so
like, you're one of the most positive Star Wars fans I know. Like, you're objective, you have things you don't like, but you find good in all Star Wars. That's why y and I love all Star Wars content. Even if I don't love it, I still love it. Like,
yes,
the new movies, I don't think they're great, but I still watch them and I love them still because it's
well,
content.
yes, and this is I think is cool. These are the things I look for when I see the new movies.
Yeah,
Stuff like this is what makes me come back. That stuff like that gives me goosebumps on my arms because again, it's it's those Easter eggs that we see in that, or in the Clone Wars, or even in Ahsoka when the live Rex came up. It was such a cool thing for that live action battle scene from Clone Wars. But again, for me, I think those are the best parts for me because they bring me back to that 10 to 15-year-old kid when A New Hope and Empire and Jedi came out, and I get to see the Emperor's throne, and it's like, holy cow, that's the Emperor's throne. I remember when Luke was there and he was fighting Vader, and things like that. I think those are so cool for all of those different Easter eggs, in these new things,
yeah,
and
and
and that's
someday
what.
I will own that throne. I will either build it or I will buy it. And there is you can buy one, but it looks good, but doesn't look great. Like, it's probably, like, only up to here. I want the full thing. I think I'm just gonna have to, I'm gonna have to build it. That's
Yeah,
all there is to it. Now,
well,
have you been to the parks,
I,
the new parks?
I have. I went.
Okay.
I didn't get to spend a ton of time. I was actually on tour. Was able to take a couple hours. I shot down there, went in, wandered around. I didn't get to ride anything, but I got to see a bunch of stuff. I know I do need to go back and do the rides for sure. We're
Well,
actually
and you and I had talked about possibly doing the
yeah,
Galactic Star Cruiser together, and now it's closed.
yeah, yeah. I don't know if you watched the last episode. I had just had TJ and Paul Marino on there, and they've gone a couple times, which was really cool. And made friends and stuff like that. And they were obviously very disappointed, but said it was such a great experience. And I think that would have been cool for you and I because again, we would have gone and got immersed in it and got different things to do because they said you make of it what you want. Yeah, you can go and go eat and go lay in your bed and do whatever, or you can go on missions and you can be a spy or you can be a good guy or a bad guy. And I think it's not gonna I don't think it's gonna go away. I think they're gonna redo it or re-up it. It sounds like they're gonna do something different with it. But again, I don't want it to be $50 either, because then
Right.
everybody's gonna go and it's gonna be I think it's cool if you put a price tag on it that the diehard fans are gonna go, and then if other people want to go and take their kids, that's okay too. But I think it's an awesome idea.
Yeah, I just wish it could have had a happy medium of pricing. And I understand why it was that expensive. Like, look at the cast and what they built. It was incredible, but it was just too much. Like, I couldn't justify spending $5,000 for 2 days to go, not when I can just go into Galaxy's Edge, which is incredible, and build a ton of lightsabers. Like, I've already built 2, so there's, almost $600 right there. But $600 is not 5,000. Like, it's just not. And, man, you and I have to go because I want you to build your first lightsaber at Sabi's workshop with me there,
Okay.
because you're gonna cry, and I'm gonna cry because I'll never forget you and I watched that episode of Mandalorian when Luke comes in.
Yeah.
When I was still in Nashville, I had my old studio in the backyard, and you got there early. It was like 5 a.m. or something. Brought donuts. We had donuts and coffee, and we just sat in my studio. It was like
Yeah,
I
so
think
good.
we were yelling. Like,
Yes.
yeah.
Which is a good thing it was outside so we didn't wake anybody up in your house or came here in my house. But and again, I think they're doing such a good job with this stuff. Everybody, has their own little, nicks about, which one's their favorite or which is not their favorite. But again, Obi-Wan, Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Boba Fett, and/or I think they did a great job with all of them. I mean, everybody, again, like we were talking about, everybody has their, you know, bad or good about what they want, but man, I really think that they're doing a good job with these.
I do too. And so how would you rank them? Like, what's your ranking order? This is hard, or maybe
Y-
it's not. Maybe it's easy.
No, it's mine would be mine is the first is Obi-Wan for me.
Wow, wow.
I
You
I
love Obi-Wan.
I do, but
I know we're working on that for you.
the
We're working on. Yeah.
The Easter eggs for me in that were so cool to pop back. Um, I think probably Ahsoka would be number two. It's hard because I loved Boba Fett, but there was a lot of things I didn't like about it. So it'd probably be Mando, Boba Fett, and then Andor. But I loved them all. Again, Andor for me was slow, but once it got into it, man, it was so good. And then again, those Easter eggs at the end when you find out what they're making, part of the Death Star, and slowly fade away, and you're like, oh my God,
Yeah. Now
and
for me, I loved how slow it was because I felt like it was one of the first times that they spent so much time building characters and they went all in. They're like, we're going to take 5 episodes and build one character. And and that's what they did and I loved that. So like my order would probably be Mando, Ahsoka, Andor, Obi-Wan, Boba Fett. But all of them had something that I loved. Like there was some stuff in Boba Fett I thought were great. Like I really loved some of the stuff in Boba Fett. There was stuff in Obi-Wan I mean just seeing Ewan again was
oh yeah,
like amazing. There was everything had something I wanted.
yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't hate any of them.
yeah. No, I think you're right. For me, this one was so cool because again, they go back, um, into the relationship again between Anakin and Obi-Wan. They surprised us with Leia, which I thought was really cool.
And she was
You know,
great.
yeah, they did such a great job with it. But then, at the end there, when Hayden and Ewan are, fighting again, and his helmet gets, you know, they slash it with the lightsaber, and it's just you can feel the emotions. And I mean, I'm getting goosebumps now just thinking about it. But again, it's so cool because again, we got to see that even and that for me was something from the prequels, when they had that relationship, the two of them, and then to bring that back. That's not even from the 70s and 80s because I know we had this much for Ben and Luke, we had this much Kenobi in it. But for the prequels, the what we saw with Kenobi was outstanding, and I thought that was just a great way to do it. And to bring in, Alderaan and some of these other planets. A lot of people were against shoot, I can't even think of her name, the other sort of main character there that was the youngling. But anyways, the African American lady that was one of the main characters
Oh
there.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I thought she did a great job, and I thought it was a great twist on that because again, how many times or how many different times have we seen Order 66 now from different points of view, which is so cool, I
Which
think.
you got me hooked on that book. I love it. You
There's
made me get it. You're like, "You're gonna love this," and I absolutely do.
they're so good. I mean, it's just these little bits and pieces, there it is. Can you see
Yep.
that too?
Wow, you were quick with that. Did you have that ready?
Yeah, I had it. I had because I've talked about it so, and I'm on Return of the Jedi now. because it just came out a little while ago. But it's so cool because again, I think it is like a Clone Wars or a Rebels where it fills in a lot of different pieces and you find new characters and you see what that character was actually like. Because like in that first one there with A New Hope, there's I know at least one one scene in the bar with the two twins, the sisters, and they're talking, I just think it's so cool that now when I go back and watch A New Hope, I can see all these other little things that are going on in these, and I sort of know that person a little bit better.
Yeah, I like the ones with the Jawas, and they're just like, because no one's like, "Oh, I really would love to know the point of view of a Jawa." Like, no one ever says that, and then you hear the story, I'm like, "Man, I could use another Jawa story."
Yeah. Well, and even in I think it's the Empire one that I listened to, L3's in it.
Yeah.
I inside the computer, which is really cool, and the Millennium Falcon, and they talk about or she talks about I'm not gonna spoil it for anybody because we already know, but there's another computer in there, but they talk about it, and part of it is the scene with, R2 when he hits the hyperdrive, but we don't know what's going on in the computer in the Millennium Falcon or what even R2's thinking, but in that short story, they talk about it, which is pretty cool, I thought.
That is awesome. They're great books. They're
Yeah.
really great.
Yeah, and I think it's neat because again, you can hit a couple of them, and then if you need to put it down or walk away, it's not like that, not like a novel or something, especially if you really get into them. Have you read any of the novels lately?
I'm doing the Old Republic right now.
Oh, nice.
So I just got the box set. Can't remember the name of the first one, but they're really good. So I've done a couple Old Republics, and now I'm doing this new box. It's not new, but it's box set. And I love them. It mostly the only reason I haven't finished more is just because of time and moving. When you move 650 miles away with 3 weeks notice, it's like, oh,
Gotta
we're
pack.
we're leaving, and then I get here, and it was like, oh, you're gonna start a new job because I have my own business, and it was like, oh, why don't you do another one? Might as well.
Oh, yeah.
So my
You know.
Star Wars time has been pretty low, all things considered.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and that's what's cool about this. I mean, it was really fun for me to do this and get on here because again, I can get you on here or other people and we can just talk about Star Wars and what it means to us. But there's also other people out here that really enjoy it and can learn things or, different things like that, which I think is pretty cool,
Yeah,
you
which we
know?
need to get you on Land Speeder for sure.
Yes, yes. I definitely
We
want to go.
we need to do it when touring's not as busy, when you have a little bit of downtime.
So what Derek is talking about is he has a podcast with a couple buddies of his, which is called Living with the Land Speeder. And I'm going to have him tell you guys a little bit about it right now.
Yeah, so it's just what we do is every episode we Star Warsify a different Disney ride or attraction. And so the three of us just come up with our ideas and we'll have guests on sometimes and we just pick different famous Disney attractions and rides and we all make them Star Wars. And it was kind of weird like how it came about. They have another podcast called I Am Geek and I've been listening to that for a few years. And so I'm listening and I'm like, they had me on an episode and we started talking about what we would do to expand Galaxy's Edge. And I was like, I think they should just make all Hollywood studios Star Wars and they can just retheme all of the rides and the sections to be different eras. And they're like, yeah, that'd be great. And like, I think Ryan on the show said, yeah, you could have like Living with the Lands, which is one of my favorite rides and obviously theirs. And they're like, you could have it as like Living with the Land Speeder. And it just kind of stuck. So we do it every other week. That's the hard part with getting guests on is like we're every other week, and then half the time I forget. Like, oh, it's Thursday. I got to do a podcast. So we need to get you on though because your show is amazing. And like how like you're getting really good guests right out of the gate.
Yeah,
So
it's really been cool. And again, and that's why I wanted to get you on here because you're a cool guest too, because again, of your background. But again, I think it was neat, that we were able to when we met and kicked it off with, Star Wars, and then it ended up going into we both like the Dolphins, and then harmonica, so it's all like, Lisa's like, that's your soulmate. I'm like, yeah.
Are we gonna go to Japan together for the next celebration?
I'm really thinking about it. I've talked to a couple people in reference to it. I was actually talking to Amy about it. I'd love to, get over there and, with someone if possible, but if not, definitely would like to go.
Man, I'm already planning on it. Like,
Yeah.
and your listeners, if they don't know me, one of my good friends is James Arnold Taylor, and I know we're gonna get him on your show. We're gonna get him. He's working on a movie right now, so he's super busy. But he'll do it. I promise. And I don't make a promise if I don't keep it. But I was like, James, I got a guy that he loves your stuff, and he can come with you. He's the guy you need to have come with you. He's like, I could probably use it.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, I'm hoping that, something like that will pop up. But again, if not, I definitely want to go over there, and check it out. I was hoping that they were going to come back here again this year, because again, it's going to be 2 year. Well, it's what, 4 or 5 by the time they even get back here, because next year, because it's not even until 25,
Right.
so now we're a year and a half out or whatever, at least a year. Oh yeah, more than a year. And then it'll be another year or two before they bring it back to the States. So I definitely want to go out there and check it out, because again, you're going to have some of this other stuff that's going to drop, beforehand. And they always do that, especially at the celebrations. They always, let us see the new stuff that's coming out, along with bringing out these guests and doing these panels and stuff like that, which is so cool. If nobody's ever been there, if you're a Star Wars fan, you definitely have to do it. I know, yeah, Japan is a little bit out of the price range, or out of the the United States for a first timer, but it's such a great experience if you're a Star Wars fan, because it's not Comic-Con, it's not Dragon Con, and those are all great things, but this is just Star Wars. That's all it is.
And I haven't gotten to do one. And originally I was gonna go with you to the last one, and then I had stuff for work, and
Yeah.
of course, when you work in the music industry, it just kind of you don't know, and so you've been around the industry enough, so it's just kind of one of those things.
It's weekend stuff. So again, if you got to work and stuff, most of the shows and stuff are going to be on the weekend. So again, it is tough to get up there. And even the 1 year, I only was able to go the one day, but I cruised up there. Lisa went with me. We went to Chicago, I think in 19 before COVID, or maybe it was right after. I don't know. But anyway, she went up there, and it was just for the day, which was cool. It was still able to get up there and check it out, because it is the panels and everybody there is just so pumped up on Star Wars stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
but I'm determined to go to Japan. I have never been to Japan. It's my bucket list, and I've got to do Disney Sea. I
yeah,
have to. I have to.
and
And the
that's gonna,
fact,
because it's part of the Disney, when they have these in Anaheim or in Orlando. You're something They do something with that world in Disney parks. Whether it's a night for everybody or it's a specific thing, but they close it down, or they'll close down Galaxy's Edge or whatever for that night or whatever, because it's a special thing. And you got to buy tickets and stuff too. But man, it's just such a cool thing for Star Wars fans.
yeah, and that's why I'm like, man, it's in Japan. I have to do it. I have to. I have to. I mean, I've got a Japanese themed Star Wars sleeve. That's come on.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that for sure, and get that locked in. So I don't know if you've seen this one yet or not, but I wanted to talk about this.
Tech put the squad ahead of himself. We know the sacrifice, Omega, and we're not gonna waste it. The galaxy has changed.
Crosshair?
So have we. soldiers' minds. What exactly is in that mountain? We are going to get her back. And we don't stop searching until we do.
I mean, it's such a cool.
I
The
hadn't seen that yet. That's the first time I've seen it.
Yeah, it's I think they've done a great job with that as well.
Yeah, I didn't love the first part of the second season, but then at the end was gut wrenching.
Oh yeah, it's insane. It's crazy, and it's funny because Paul that I had on here, Tech was one of his favorites, and they was just it's heartbreaking in some of these things, even though they're cartoons or whatever, you get attached to these characters because they mean so much into this universe, and it's crazy. But I think they're doing a good job with these because again, it's entertaining for you and I, but also if you have a nephew or a kid or a 10 or a 5-year old, they're going to sit in there and they're going to watch it with you, and you get to enjoy that with them, and maybe they ask you questions, maybe they don't, but again, you can grow and then you can go in and you can watch something else with them too, which is really cool. But I think they've done a good job bringing some of these new characters to life. I mean, look at Ahsoka. I mean, she's a Clone Wars person or a character, and one of probably my number 2 or 3 right now. Besides Yoda, I mean, I think she's a badass. She's incredible,
Yeah.
and they did such a good job bringing her from this little Padawan up to now this 45-year-old woman, or this, that is in this universe. And I thought both of Rosario and Ashley have done a fantastic job, bringing this character to life.
Yeah, and I was mad at first when I was like, "Well, give Ashley the chance to be Ahsoka." I think a lot of fans were that way, and but she's great at what she does, and I totally understand the direction they went. But I was still like, a part of me was like, "Ugh, ugh."
Yeah.
And then I saw it. I was like, Rosario knocked. I don't think it could have been done without her.
No, I think you're right. Yeah, I think she did a great job, and and I've read some articles and watched some social media and stuff. But again, she did. She dove into her mannerisms and stuff like that, which any good actor does, to bring that character to life. And what I thought was really cool, because a lot of people were, and I've talked about this on this podcast as well, but some of the live action, oh well, it doesn't look like this or it doesn't look like that. But when Chris was on here, Bartlett, he was talking about, I think it was either John or Dave that was talking and saying, listen, that's the real character. The live action is the real character. When we take these animations, those are just the stories that we're telling, which I thought was really cool, because again, you can go in and be like, okay, there's Luke, but it's a different Luke in something else. Or there's Darth Vader. You see Darth Vader in 1977. He's different on Clone Wars. But that one in 1970, that's the real Darth Vader. They're just bringing these cartoons to life to show us more stories, which I thought was neat. Because a lot of people were complaining about the Cad Bane thing, which he didn't look like exactly like the cartoon.
But
But they did a
he was
great job.
perfect, spot on acting. He was amazing.
Yes. Oh,
I
absolutely.
mean, you had the voice.
Yeah. Well, it's like Thrawn.
Yeah,
Oh my
Ch-
God.
Chunky Thrawn.
Yes, but still, he I love that the guy that, I can't think of his name, that is doing the voice, they put him in there because he does, and it sounds just like he came off Clone Wars. I think it was great, and he's just such an ass. He
I
really
know. He's
just a
great at it.
strategic. I mean, it doesn't matter. He doesn't care if you're a Jedi or a witch, or he will control everybody, and I'm looking forward to seeing this whole Filoni thing, if he's going to mash all these things up into a movie. And now that they've given him this, in this new position, I think that he's gonna I think he's really gonna kill it with these movies or this movie that he's gonna do. I really hope so, at least.
In Filoni we trust.
Yes.
I mean, I have the bumper sticker, the Filoni Favreau for president in 2024. I have a Jeep Gladiator now, and it's all Star Wars themed.
I know
It's
I
all
saw some pictures. It's pretty cool the way the door opens and the Empire, comes out. Pretty that's pretty awesome, dude. Yeah, I like that
yeah,
a lot.
subtle.
Yeah.
Did I tell you what the name of the truck is?
Uh-uh.
Bloodfin. Now, my brother came up with the name, and I was like, "That sounds familiar, but what is that?" That's Darth Maul's little speeder motorcycle
Oh,
thing. That's called Bloodfin.
okay.
I was like, "Whoa, you did a deep dive there, buddy."
That's pretty cool.
So my brother was like, "You need to call it Bloodfin." I was like, "What?" And so I did that, and then, it's funny because I've got it written in Arabic on the hood, where the normal Jeep like Rubicon logos are, and so people are like, "Was that Japanese?" No, it's not. It's not Japanese.
So I see there's a few people on here. I don't know if you guys are interested. If you guys have any questions, just shoot them up in here. Say hello. Let me know who you are. Say hi to Derek. We're gonna start wrapping things up here in a few minutes. But again, it's been great to have you on, and hopefully, I'm gonna try to keep doing a few more of these. We'll do some live stuff, and again, I'd love to get you and the rest of the guys on here as well.
When you
You know,
got to get on land speeder, you have to
oh
figure now. If you were on, what ride or attraction would you want to do? Because I mean, we've done quite a few, but there's plenty that we haven't.
yeah, I'd have to see like I'll send you a list, or you send me a list of like, hey, these are the ones that we have done or we haven't
Let me
done.
let me see. I've got a list somewhere.
Which ones?
Let's
y-
see. I don't even remember what we've done. It gets to the point where you just forget, and
oh yeah,
there's so many, and we haven't even been doing it that long. But let's see.
I
Let's see.
think
Katrin sent me a spreadsheet, or an updated spreadsheet.
I see.
I don't know.
The logo is really cool
I don't
as
even
well. I
get.
think you guys did a cool job with that logo.
I had nothing to do with it, unfortunately. I wish I could say that I did, but I didn't. Um, I'll have to look for the link. But yeah, we've done 11 episodes ish, something like that. I don't even remember. That's bad when you don't even know how many you've done. We've done some episodes.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that's
I'll get you a list. That way you
okay.
can kind of pick out what you'd want. But like even if there's one that we might have done, what are like three rides that you'd maybe want to Star Warsify?
Honestly, I think it's a small world would be awesome.
Yeah, we just did that one.
Yeah,
I think maybe we did I think we did it as the Thanksgiving special.
yeah.
And
I would love
mine
to.
was like I wanted them all to be younglings and you are Anakin and you so down. So horrible. I'm so bad.
I want to watch the one because you guys did the presidents, right? The Hall of
Yeah,
Presidents.
yeah, I guess that was the last one. It was the one before that we did.
Yeah, I think that would be cool just to, figure out who you're gonna have in there and what you're, what they're doing. I think that would be cool to put because there's so many different characters to pick from,
Yeah.
you
And
know?
we usually like there's a lot of good ideas we've had in the show. There's some really bad ones. Like I kind of have the award for the worst one ever. And it was when we did the Beauty and the Beast stage show, which I hate I love Beauty and the Beast, but the stage show at Disney is horrid. And I just made a mockery of it. And so if
Oh,
you want to hear the absolute worst idea that we've ever had, it was me. It was my idea for the Beauty and the Beast. It was so awful.
yeah, no, I'd love to get on there because and just again, yeah, just Star Warify everything that's going on in there, which is neat because again, now there's just so much that's in there, now and even before Galaxy's Edge came there, like you were talking about with the Star Tours and stuff, there was just so much cool shops and stuff like that, the merch that they had, the food that they had, it's all Star Wars stuff, and again we've talked about this before. There's so much Star Wars out there right now, and it's more of a culture thing. It's not like a retro or this or that. It's part of our culture. I mean, Big Bang Theory and all these TV shows and stuff that reference it, or movies that reference it, the sayings or the characters, or there's nothing else like that, like Star Wars in reference to this
Yeah,
universe.
and I heard somewhere that the second most recognizable across the world character, created character besides Mickey Mouse is Darth Vader. So like you can go anywhere in the world that has seen a TV and if they'll know who Darth Vader is. They
Yeah.
might not have ever seen Star Wars, but people know who Darth Vader is.
Oh yeah.
And that's the impact. That's why I love him. Like the impact.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a good poster. Mace Windu. I mean, Mace, like my lightsaber color's purple, even though I'm like a Sith. Got that conflict, that like Revan kind of thing,
Yeah.
which I love Revan. I mean, I have a Revan tattoo as well.
Awesome. So let me ask you this. What is your thoughts on these two?
Ah, canon versus legend. Um, I love them both.
Okay.
And there's things from legends that I would love to see in canon, like Luke's wife.
Mara Jade.
Yep.
Have you read
So much.
Choices?
What's that?
Have you read the Choices book?
Uh-uh.
Her book. It's really good. I would definitely recommend that if you're a fan um of hers. It's because she was the emperor's right hand for a little while
Mhm.
too.
Right.
Which is cool. And they touch on that, which I think is really cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think you'd really enjoy that book. Um
Yeah. And then I'm a huge Darth Bane fan, like the Bane trilogy.
oh, so good.
Oh my god, it's so good. It's so good. Like I like that even more than the Thrawn Ascendancy, and I loved those books. But the Darth Bane trilogy is like my epitome. It's my peak Star
Yeah.
Wars stuff.
It,
Um,
it, that was such a good. If you haven't read those, the Bane, the Cad Bane, or yeah, not Cad Bane. um, if you haven't read those Bane, there's three of them, and it starts out, and he is the one that brings back that rule of two. Which is really cool that we get to see and hear so much about in this universe more recently now. But yeah, those are so good, and again, it's just like they're building on it, which is really cool. That Dark Disciple is really cool. That's
yeah.
have you read that?
Yep.
That was such a good, and I heard that was actually supposed to be like a 3 or 4 episode on Clone Wars, and
Really.
it never ended up, coming out. So it was like was sort of
Well, and then you start adding a lot of the video game stuff that's canon and some that's not. And so like I love the video game stories, like all the stuff with Cal Kestis and all of the Force Unleashed stuff with Star Killer and man,
oh, it's awesome. It's so good, all the stuff. And then that's the thing. I can't do the games because I wouldn't be on here right now. I'd be playing a game.
I know I keep trying to get you in.
No,
You're gonna
I do.
cave one of these days.
What I do is I'll get on YouTube and I'll watch somebody else play the whole thing, and then I get to see the story sort of played out.
Yeah.
Which for me, I can spend, I can break it up into 2 or 3 hours, and then, instead of spending,
Well,
hours.
like, because like Inferno, or Operation Cinder, not Inferno. Um, that's a big part with Palpatine and stuff, and a lot of people don't know what it is, and that's from the game. It's canon. It's
Yeah.
really good storyline. So yeah, you can go on YouTube and just watch like the cutscenes only.
Yeah. Yeah. Which again, and like you said, it builds on the story that we're so enthusiastic about.
Yep.
Speaking of building on a story.
As a Jedi, it is our duty to use the Force for the great or good, to protect and defend those in need.
The dark side of Force is rising. We have to be careful.
The Sith rise again, stronger and more determined than ever.
Master, what can you tell me about the history of the Sith?
Sith, the ancient enemy has long been vanquished. But beware, for history has a way of repeating itself.
The light side is weak. It is the darkness that truly empowers. This galaxy will kneel before the true masters of the Force.
I can't wait. This is probably the one minus Mandalorian coming out because like I have a Mandalorian flag over here. I've had that Mandalorian flag before Mandalorian was ever announced. I'm a huge I love Mandalore. I love all those stories and the mythosaur and everything. So when that got announced, I was like, I've already got the flag on the wall. I've had it for years. So that's cool, but this is probably my next most anticipated thing because they're really diving into the dark side. It, it from what it looks like, it's still like, they want the good guys, but they're really digging in to that dark side.
They definitely are. But again, I think it looks pretty cool. I mean, it's something new and different. There's
The
not
cinematography's so good.
oh yeah. And that's what they've really done on all this new stuff. It really is. I'm the stuff for and I was gonna download it and I forgot, but there's another trailer out for Andor season 2, which looks phenomenal.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
I, I loved Andor, so I'm really excited.
and I think which is really cool for that, which I got more into as it went on, but there's not all the lightsabers and all the force using and stuff like that. It's these people living on this planet or this planet, or they're just living the regular lives, or it's the politicians doing this or going against that. It's not the force, mind melding someone or doing whatever, trying to, bring out a lightsaber and let's turn the tides on this one. It's just good strategic and cinematography in it is phenomenal.
Yeah, and even if, like, you hate the new movies, you can't deny that the cinematography was beautiful.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, the way it was shot was gorgeous. It was just Kathleen Kennedy got too far into it, I think.
Yeah.
But we won't go we already said our piece with that, it's fine.
Yeah.
Now, I did wanna ask you, you've got
Yep.
all I know you love Yoda, you've got your Christmas Yoda, and I see a few, maybe some Grogu Christmas, and I saw that you posted that video with your Boba Fett. So,
Yeah.
are those like your I already know the answer because I've been to your house, but are those figures behind you all the time, or is it just for Christmas?
No, these are just for Christmas. So I have yeah, I have my Christmas decorations.
Which
I've
I'm sure you
yeah,
probably have this one.
I have
Of
like
course
4.
you do.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if that's the one I have right here. No, he's a different one. I actually had 2 of these, so I took him out of the box. Um, but
Oh.
he's got his little
Yeah,
Grogu.
because you're like one of those target hunters the day stuff comes out, aren't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're
Uh,
that guy.
always looking for stuff
You're
and
the guy that gets everything so I can never get it. Like, this is my only Black Series figure, but I had to have it. Like Boba Fett and the ugly Christmas sweater.
I think
I love
yeah,
it.
up over there because that's like I have like a lot of my Black series is over here.
Oh my gosh.
Then I
Are
have
you
a
following my friend Turntables the Dark Side on Instagram?
no, but I will now.
Oh, his collection
Okay.
and he's in Nashville.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. I'll
Yeah,
send you a
definitely.
link because
Yeah.
I definitely told him about your collection, and then I saw his, and I'm like, you two, oof, you
Well, and
guys
even
have a museum.
especially because I got the whole setup for here in my studio in my Star Wars room, whatever you want to call it. But I have a whole new setup because I have the other mics and the headphones, and I got a nice little comfy chair now, and which is pretty cool. So
Yeah, you did it up right. Like, you've done a nice job. You've got the lighting, you've got the good mics. Nice
yeah.
job.
Well,
I'm proud of you.
thank you, thank you. I wanted to go. I knew you're a pro at this, so I knew I had to get, and just seeing some of your stuff, I knew I had to get good stuff so that again, it's enjoyable for everybody out there that's watching. Besides the enjoyment of us getting to talk about Star Wars and different things like that. Not different things, but all Star Wars. I like that we're able to, um, have these things. It's pretty cool. But I wanted it to be sound good. I wanted it to look good. But again, yeah, I think I brought out a couple Halloween things that I had when I did the Halloween podcast, and I'll switch up a couple more of the holiday stuff, throughout
Yeah.
the next month or so, and then we'll go back to the regular stuff. But
And what
I
people don't know is it's not just like your basement is a museum. It's like a shrine. It's everything. Like I think mine's cool, and then I go see yours. Like I bragged to everybody, and then our wives used to work together. That's how we met. And she's like, he's really into Star Wars. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. And then we meet, and I see all your tattoos, and I was like, okay, like I'm listening. Then we're talking. I'm like, wait, he knows Star Wars. He's like, oh, come over to the house. And I was like, I am not a Star Wars fan compared to Ron at all. But I know also that it's not just your basement, and your amazing wife lets this spill into the rest of the house. Mine is kept down here. There's no other Star Wars in the rest of the house. It is in my cave. So for everybody watching, th-
yeah.
this isn't it for him.
No, well, and I have started to bring some more of this stuff down here because it's neat because now this is my office, but it's also the podcast room too. So I get to enjoy it because I'm the guy that opens everything and puts it out. Everything is out and about. There's some pictures and stuff and some figures and stuff that I haven't because I've got so much stuff I need bigger space. Um, but I want
Guilty as well.
Right, exactly. I wanna enjoy it though. I don't want it doesn't need to be put away. I'm not trying to buy this so I can make, money in 50 years from now.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, if maybe we would have thought about that in the 70s and 80s, yeah, we could have made a few bucks. But now, I mean, I have my 70s stuff over here and it's not going anywhere. I'm not selling it. I don't care, and that's what I've talked about before. I get so much stuff and all this new stuff continues to come out and these new characters and stuff. I had to sort of put a hold on it, but what I did was I started getting the older stuff now. So now I'm buying the
Mm.
Y-wing from the 70s and 80s. I got the Hoth planet from the 70s and then I'm going and getting the snow troopers, and I'm getting Luke and Han in their winter gear, so that I can set that up. And I want to do that with those little old 77 and 80 and 83s. I want to set that stuff up.
Nice. I
Um,
I have a pile, and I a literal pile of Millennium Falcons under my desk right now because I used to have 'em in my old studio in Nashville. We're up on the ceiling and stuff, and it was kinda like there were different eras and sizes of Millennium Falcons. I haven't put them up here, but, like, one of them I'm turning into a guitar, and
yeah,
I'm super excited about that, but, like, there's a literal pile of Millennium Falcons, like, right under my desk. Like,
that's
I'm
awesome.
dark side, but the Millennium Falcon, come on.
Oh, I know. Uh, uh, I know R2. We got to wrap things up here, so I'm gonna do a little speed round here with Derek, so he can to answer some of these questions. I think I know some of them, but I don't know all of them, so I'm interested to find out. Okay, are you good?
Okay.
Are you okay with that, R2? All right, thank you. All right, so um, favorite movie.
Oh, Empire.
Okay, me too. That is mine. I know this, but favorite character.
Darth Vader.
Okay.
Close. Revan and Maul are pretty close, but Vader.
Okay. All right. So which again, this next question is obvious. Jedi or Sith?
Yep. Sith.
Mm-hmm.
All
Mm-hmm.
the way. I mean,
Which is funny because I think well no, I think Tyler was Sith as well. So I have
Yeah.
had a lot of people are Jedi, but
I love the Jedi. I'm
yeah.
just a Sith.
So just in the movies, and it can be any of the nine, it doesn't or it could be Solo or Rogue One if you want. Um favorite scene.
Oh, wow. That's an amazing question. Um, I think I'm gonna have to go with um probably the "I love you, I know." Like,
Okay.
getting put in the carbonite, like, it was just so amazingly iconic, and, like, all of like, with everything going on in the background, and the colors were so different than the rest of the movies. It was just such a unique scene.
Yep.
Nothing else really matched it.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's such a good interaction between the two of them, and you have pretty much everybody besides Luke and R2 in that scene.
Yeah.
Vader's there, Boba Fett's there, Han, Leia, Chewie, 3PO, Lando. I mean, everybody's in that scene, which again, like you said, it's a whole different look than everybody else's. So I think yeah, that's a cool. I like that. I like that answer for sure.
That was a great question.
I try. Um, Solo or Rogue One?
Rogue One, but I love Solo.
Okay. All right. Why Rogue One over Solo if you
I
love Solo?
I just love that it was such a different story, and it was such a departure from what they had done before. But Solo, like, I mean, Amelia Clark, come on, man, like she's a babe, and she was amazing. Like they've got to use her more.
Yeah.
They
They just
have
had
to.
Crimson something with her is the
Crimson
main.
Dawn.
It's but it's not Dawn, it's Crimson something else.
Oh,
Um but yeah, I'm sure it has obviously stuff to do with that, but it's she's the main character. Um a- and I'm sort of like you as well. And again, theatrically, visually, Rogue One was outstanding, but for me Solo was we get to see Han's surname. We get to see how he gets the Millennium Falcon. Glover did a freaking great job. You
amazing.
we get to see how he actually meets Chewie and how that whole thing goes down, which I thought was really cool. So, again, just Easter eggs in that. It's the same thing with the Book of Boba Fett. I mean, I was waiting since 83 for his arm to just pop out of the sand like that.
Yeah.
Um, Clone Wars or Rebels?
Oh my gosh. Oh, Clone Wars. I'm gonna go Clone Wars overall.
Okay.
Yeah. I love Rebels though so much.
I do too. I think it's great. I think they've introduced so many new characters in that, which is really cool. And I'm gonna have to shoot. I'm gonna have to put and I did this last time because I totally forgot. But Bad Batch now.
Yeah.
It's there's such good series that they're coming out with these things.
Hmm.
And I think it's phenomenal that they're able to bring these cartoons to us and tell more of a story.
Yep.
So I think I know your answer to this one, but this is the last one.
Oh, this is so hard. Okay. I want to say Chopper so bad because he's such a devious little monster, but R2 will forever have a spot in my heart. I've got my R2 and C3PO piggy bank right up here on my desk. So, like R2 is, I love the theory that Star Wars is told from R2's point of view.
Yeah, that's my big thing is he knows everything.
Yeah, and he's so loyal, but
Right.
he's sassy. I mean,
Yeah.
R2,
Yeah.
gosh,
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. So
these were hard questions. They were not easy.
well, and if you're a fan, and that's why I like doing those questions to people like yourself because you are a fan like I am, and we enjoy this and we're enthralled in it because again, it's a cool thing just to sort of get away. We have our lives that we do. We're all adults. We all have real jobs, yes, but this is a cool thing that we get to sort of escape in and not think about anything and just enjoy it. And I think George Lucas has brought that to us and pretty much for all of my life because I'm sure it'll continue for the next 20 or 30 years and hopefully I'll be around for that long and especially for your life as well, we're able to watch it when we were kids and it's still going and it's still good. It's still good, they're building on some things and yeah, not everybody's going to like all the characters that come and go or whatever. But again, the heart and soul of what George Lucas brought us is amazing.
Yeah, I agree.
So, Well, again, thank you so much for being here, my friend. So good seeing you in person, and I'll definitely want to get on your podcast and get on there and talk about some different things, which will be cool. Again, it's Living with the Land Speeder. Check it out. It's on YouTube as well, correct? Along with all
Yep.
the other streaming platforms and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, you can
And
find it pretty much anywhere.
nice. That's awesome. Well, again, thank you so much, Derek Frank, for being here and talking Star Wars. And we will see you guys on the next Star Wars Jedi chat. And until then, may the Force be with you. And we'll see you on the next Star Wars Jedi chat.